He's on now. What's up, boys?
Yo, Fakhri in the house, New York legend.
We're both New York legends.
No, people don't know. Just so for people to understand, the Fakhri is, he's a very humble guy. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life. He'll give the shirt off his back. He'll protect you. He's a pit bull when he needs to be. And Fakhri is the type of person that's not going to let anything, especially Fakhri's personality, hinder his reputation, his personality, and that's how it goes. So what we're going to hear from Fakhri today is going to be straight up the truth and honesty. There's no, wool covering the eyes and anything like that. You're going to get it straight from Fakhri. He is definitely an OG, and I'm glad that he's on.
Yeah, so I guess let's start with we had what's up, Lee? How you, brother?
What's up, Lee?
Good. I'm glad I checked my phone because I was thinking it was 6 a.m. my time, and I just started to do biceps, and I looked down, and I'm like, 5 a.m. Fuck.
Oh shit. Yeah, because you told me 6 too, so it's 5. Damn.
Yeah, 5 a.m.
Shit.
How you been, Lee?
Not too bad. Not too
Good,
bad.
man. Good.
For an early morning, I've been up. I'm one of those people. I'll have to do one of those videos where it says 3 a.m. I get up, 3:02 I take a piss. Like
And you have somebody following you around for like the next 12 hours.
You guys piss like I piss like 5 or 6 times a night at least since I like.
Yeah, I'm like 3 or 4.
Join the club.
Yeah.
I used to do that, but I try and limit my water intake now after 5-6 p.m. Otherwise, that getting up to piss all the time is just murder. Then when it's time to get up, it's almost like when you're dieting for shows. You'll be getting up to piss all the time. Then when the alarm goes off, you're like, oh, fuck, I could really sleep now. It's like, oh, fuck.
All right, so we had Justin on the other day, which is an amazing bodybuilder. He came on and we had a long podcast for a couple hours, and then of course he talked about his past shows and whatever. Talked about some coaches he worked with. Fakhri, your name came up. Obviously, he was talking about a cycle that he did. I don't know how many years ago, 15, 10, whatever years ago, and then my guy, editor, I don't even pick the clips. He'll pick a couple clips from the YouTube, and I'll put it up on IG. One of the clips was Justin talked about a cycle. I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was like, okay, but then King got a message first, and then I checked my messages. You're in the outbox, obviously, because we weren't following each other. And then so I guess go from there, because I guess Justin said some things on the cycle that I guess you were kind of upset about or wasn't true or whatever. So take it off from there.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy, right? So Justin picks the first cycle with me as compared to what he did with Hani or Matt. You know what I'm saying? So I find that real strange. So I'm sitting on my couch. I think it was like, I don't know, it was late because King knows what time it was. I text King right away, and then I messaged you. In the cycle, he said that with what he was talking about, he said that our first cycle, he went from like a bro cycle to like a heavy cycle. which is bullshit because I send you guys both screenshots. So I have every single email since 1996 in my in either AOL or Gmail. I swear to God, I'm not even kidding you. I can pull up anybody's email. I'm very OCD with work. When it comes to work, it's something that I take very seriously, and obviously coaching has been my work, and I still do it to this day. So he said that he went up to 1,000 megs of test, which is the truth, because I sent you guys the proof that it was 750. But when he came from Shelby, which was his first coach before me, he was already doing 600 megs of test, 600 megs of MPP, which was MPP/DECA. I think it was 50 Turinabol and 50 D-ball. So my first cycle with him was 750 tests, 600 DECA, and I think it was 100 milligrams of Anavar. And then he went to a PCT, right? So he said, well, it wasn't really a PCT, right? So because he included Primobolan. So by the time I was prepping Justin, I was already in the sport for 21 years, right? I started in the sport really heavily in like 89 as a kid. By 1990, I was already, studying, and by 91, I was training with Mike Menzer, Ray Menzer, Casey Videra in California. So it wasn't like I was a rookie coach or like just doing it for a couple of years after my pro card in 2005. If I do remember correctly, the reason why we put Primo into that PCT HRT / was because he was 16 weeks out from junior nationals. So we couldn't do a 40-day PCT and take everything out. But I've done PCT with him many times, and it never included the Primo. So what pissed me off that day was, he made me sound like a drug-induced coach, which I'm not. And King knows I'm not. I know King for a long time. Me and King have had many discussions. Me and King have been on podcasts making people cry because they have been pushing heavy drugs, So that's not me. So that's what pissed me off. And then the 15 people sent me the message, your video clip on my messages. So I took those 15 people as a sample of how many other people thought the same thing. And I have to defend myself because my reputation in the sport is spotless. Nobody can say anything about me in 36 years as a bodybuilder, as a coach, as a bad person. I pride myself to be ethical. Now, did we have to bump it up to go to junior nationals? Yeah, because we knew Kevin Jordan was doing nationals. We knew Chad Nichols was prepping Kevin Jordan, and Justin wanted to win. We went to junior nationals, and Justin and Kevin Jordan won junior nationals. Justin left me. He went to work with Hani. So
why? Like what? Why at that time? Did he give you a reason, or he just left?
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you. So I'm gonna tell you something that he's a very, and he has said it himself. He's a very intense person. He's very driven, and he has to be because he was on his way to be Mr. Olympia, right? Before whatever happened to him, I'm not even sure if something happened to him medically. He just whatever the case is, he just didn't want to bodybuild anymore. I don't want to get into that. So he left me to go to Hani. No explanation whatsoever. It wasn't like, hey, Fak, I'm not happy because I didn't win my first junior nationals and I'm going to Hani. So he left me to Hani. And then in 2012, I was at nationals. So the next day after prejudging was Saturday morning, he comes over to me on Saturday morning. He said, listen, I made a mistake. I want to come back with you. He finished 10th with Hani and nationals that year. The next year, we won the heavyweight class. And he should have won the overall. Some guy from Metrics. I forgot his name. Metrics was sponsoring the show, so the guy had to win, right? Then we stayed together. Yeah, you guys know how that shit goes. So we stayed together, and then we did Chicago, and he bailed out on me like a week out, and he finished 5th, And then again, he disappeared, And then he came back, and he disappeared. It's just going back and forth. So I want to make the record straight that, if there's any emails of him saying that he left for a certain reason, I want to see him because I don't have him. And I have over 20,000 emails since 1996. I have him on AOL and I have him on Gmail.
Well, you know how it is. Fuck, right? You know how it was back at that time. It's like you have someone in your ear, like, hey, you need to go work with this coach if you want to place well. Like I got the same thing. Kind of Dave was helping me, and then someone else was telling me, like, hey, you need to hire Hani because if you want to get placed higher. So I understand. He was, I think, pretty young at the time, early 20s. So you have so many people in your ear too. You kind of like don't even know what to listen to because at the time, and people still do it all the time. You got other coaches saying, "Oh, well, if you're with this coach, you're not going to place well. Come with me because I know this person, you're going to get a better place." So a lot of that was going on too at that time. I know.
Fakhri, why do you think personally? What did your heart tell you why he kept doing this? Why was he on and off with you? Why?
I don't know, King. Like, I don't know. Like, you know how I am. Like, I have all my clients on Google Chat, so it's not like, okay, send me your update once a week, and you cannot reach me for the rest of the week. Like, I've had like 17 Google Chat messages today, and that works just like a text phone. So it's not me not paying. It's not me giving them attention. It's not me working my ass off. I work 40 to 60 hours a week, even until this day.
No, this is my job. I know that you have a reputation of literally killing yourself for your clients. I do the same exact. Actually, I got a lot of my stuff from you. I learned my PCT from you. If you remember that one, the lesson that we had, that conversation that we had, and I'm like, teach me, and you taught me about the PCTs. But
did I have
in my personal opinion, I'm thinking to myself, I think Armon's right. It's just people getting in your ear. People get in people's ears and say, "Oh man, you got to go work with Neil Hill. Oh no, you got to go with work with this person." For me personally, throughout all my career, I learned that it's who you match, whose personality, which there's got to be like a respect and somebody where you can listen to the coach. Like Chad, when he said something to me, I felt it. I was like, okay, I believe this guy, man. I know what and I did everything to a T. Even today, I had that issue. A girl called me up crying and said, "I'm 2 weeks out. This girl called me up and said, I look physique. I don't look bikini." I'm like, "Is this girl competing against you?" "Yes." I'm like, "Hang up the phone right now. Keep doing what you're doing. Stop listening to other people." Yeah. Of course she's going to tell you that. So you can stop what you're doing and look like crap on stage.
I had a lot of those people too. It's like, I had a lot of really good national guys, and they're like maybe a few weeks out, and then they go hire like a Cito or someone like a big name. I'm like, why? And then we're doing well. Then the next show they're placing last place at a pro show. I'm like, why would you do that? Like, that doesn't make sense. And then I've had a lot of really good clients up and coming, and then they'll win shows, and then they'll go switch to another coach, and then they start doing worse. And I'm like, dude, that coach is not even. Like, doesn't even care about you. He cares about his top 3 Olympians, and he don't even care about you. So that's very common, And you're like, what did I do? You didn't do anything. It's just people get in their head like, hey, this person has the magic potion, like me and King talk about all the time, and Lee too. Like, this person has a secret, this formula, this plasma expander, and they rush over there, and they're like, okay, what are you doing differently than what we did? It's like how you mesh with your client. Like, I've worked with people before too, and I said, listen, we're not a good mesh. We're not meshing well. I can, refer you to one of my friends at prep or something like that, and I do. And I've had other friends refer me some clients too that they don't mesh well with. So, a lot of people can't take that really hard type coaching criticism that I know I do, or probably King's like, probably you're like, and a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people want someone like their cheerleader, like, hey, you look great, and then you get on stage, you get your ass kicked. Then they're asking, like, why did I get my ass kicked? I'm like, well, when I was telling you to do 2 hours cardio a day, you're saying, well, this guy's only doing 25 minutes cardio a day, and he's getting this many carbs, and he's doing this. Like, okay, you're not him. And so it's happened to a lot of good bodybuilders.
Yeah, I mean, so the whole thing going back and forth is what really messes my mind up, right? Because if I did something wrong or we didn't mesh, why come back to me 3 times?
That's a point. You got a point.
Yeah, I got a point, and then you brought up a really good point, King. Like, one day we had a full conversation about PCT. Was Primo PCT?
No.
So I mean, no. It's so.
To this day, I still use the pre-CT that you recommended. To this day, I still use it on all my clients.
Yeah. So my cousin, his name is Henry Diaz. He's one of the top cardiologists on this side of the hemisphere. He's out of Puerto Rico. And he was a bodybuilder when I was young. Many of the things that I learned to this day, and I still use to this day, is because of my cousin Henry Diaz. And whenever I have any other questions about blood work, something I can't read, something like, why is, not everybody's perfect, 100% reading every single line on the blood panel. We understand GFRs, liver enzymes, kidney enzymes, creatine, hemocrat, blah 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 blah. But there's little things in there. Sometimes, you know what? Let me ask my cousin what I need to ask, and I ask my cousin, and he answers me, all the time. So, like I said, I wasn't a rookie, or I didn't win a 2005 USA's, and now I'm a coach because I'm a pro. I was doing this for 21 years before I even coached him. So that was my take on it. I'm not upset. I just wanted to make, put the record straight. And, I emailed him the proof. I sent you guys the proof. Again, me and King have had a long relationship, and we've had many discussions about stuff, and I would never do anything like that. Like, obviously, yeah, we did have to push it a little bit more.
Don't mean to cut you off, but I personally, I didn't think that he was insulting you. I didn't hear it that way. Armon, I don't know how what Armon.
No, because we spoke on the
insulting you. I think he might have said something incorrect, but I don't think he was trying to insult you. But at the same time, on the other side of the coin, I understand your point of view. You got a reputation. You don't want people to think that you're some juiced up, sauced up, increase the dosage type guy. I get it.
Yeah, because we talked on the phone before the podcast, and for like a couple hours one day, and I was like, "Why don't you come on the podcast?" And he spoke about you. He spoke very highly of you. He was like, "Fak is a great coach. He's really, really good." And so he had nothing but good to say about you. So I don't think he was being malicious at all. He probably just said some things that weren't true or forgot. Like, I try to remember. I can't remember every freaking cycle I did or who gave me what to take. I mean, I didn't write all that down like some people do. But so I don't think he's being malicious. But you don't want to be called. I've had clients do that before too. Like, this client not too long ago, he's up at Metroflex Arlington, where a lot of bodybuilders are, and he's telling everybody, "Yeah, I got my blood work. My test levels are 8,000." I'm like, they're coming to me. They're like, "Hey, I heard you got so and so sick." I'm like, "Sick? Like, what are you talking about?" And I call this guy. I'm like, "Why are your test levels 8,000?" And he goes, "Well, I wasn't feeling well, so I bumped the test up to 3 grams a week." I go, 3 grams a week? I said, you only want a novice show. Why are you doing 3 grams of test a week? And then the blood work showed he wasn't feeling well because his estrogen was through the freaking roof. And I'm like, yeah, dude. So yeah,
which leads us to the next question. This is for Lee and Fakhri. What the hell is going on these days with these internet? So I mean, Fakhri, what are you thinking in your head when you hear everyone's a coach? When you hear the cycles? When you hear the we've had a ton of Sam Sulek discussions and all that, eating boxes of cereal and this and that. And when we tell people, like if I sit there and say to people, Lee Priest did not do 3 grams. Lee Priest did not take these. Lee just was a genetic freak. Why can't you guys believe that?
I did eat lots of Cocoa Pops and Fruit Loops.
It's the impression. Like when your ad came out, Lee, with when your stomach was out and you eating fried chicken. How many people started pounding fried chicken in the off season? I bet you a lot.
Hey, I used to go to Max Muscle and eat fried chicken, and Max Muscle, every time I had something bad, up on the wall they had the box of Kentucky chicken sign, the pizza box sign. Anytime I ate junk food, they put it up on the Max Muscle wall as a souvenir signed by me. And tourists would come in and go, "Can I buy that bucket of chicken signed by Lee?"
But Fakhri, seriously, what do you think? Because we've had so many shows. Armon and I have talked so many times, trying to knock some sense into these kids' heads. What do you think? What's happening to the sport? What's going on here?
I think you can't sell the same book twice. So if Lee puts his cycle, I put my cycle, you put your cycle, and Mom puts his cycle, we're all aligned. There's no way that all of us look the way we look. I've had Lee. You don't even know how many people I've had do a comparison picture of you. It's ridiculous, and because they're in the off season is they bulk up and they're fat. And like, well, this is Lee Priest, so like we have similar genetics. No, bro, like Lee Priest was like made by God, and they didn't finish making him. So was King, right? Like you guys were being made by God, and God dropped you without like a myostatin gland. So people don't understand that. It could also be the fact that when we were bodybuilding, or when we were bodybuilding at a peak, we had better PEDs, right? But I just think there's some disillusion of not taking the time to fucking grow, right? Lee started very early. and he became a great bodybuilder at an early age. Same thing with you, King, right? You won the collegiate nationals. You were very young. You made a very quick impact at the Ironman, at the Arnold. And people just don't have the time because of social media. Social media makes you rush things a lot faster. I didn't take any PDs until I was 26, and I started training at 15. It was my decision to take PDs, but I knew for a fact when I took PDs, I was going to turn pro because I already had that base and that foundation, right? So my first show, I was like, I could have gone probably into junior nationals and won and gone into nationals and finished top 5. But again, you can't sell the same book twice. So if I'm telling you that I got my pro card at 750 test, 400 EQ, 300 mass, 300 trend, some 25 micrograms of T3, some clenbuterol, and that's what I got my pro card with. And then the guy next to me who beat me by, you might know his name. His name is Phil Heath, because he won the overall. He took less than I did, and I thought he was full of shit until I sat down with him one day when we were in California, Woodland Hills, and we were eating. And I'm like, bro, this guy's not full of shit. But I just think social media is, and people know that they're doing it wrong. Most people know they're doing it wrong. They know it, but they don't care. They're trying to pay their bills, car bills, mortgages, bills, lying people and hurting people.
And that's the thing too, like you said, no one does that foundation work. They don't have the patience to go 5-7 years without any gear, just train, eat, sleep, build a good foundation and see what you can do naturally before you introduce the gear. Now young kids are on the gear before they get their membership at the gym. And it's, a lot of it's the internet, like we said, because now I think there's so much information that like someone will get on a program or a cycle, they'll be on it for a couple of weeks and go, oh, wait a minute, here's a new one. I'm going to change to this one, then change to this one. They don't give even like a training I've given training programs to people, and after 2 or 3 weeks, oh, can I change it up? I'm like, how about you be on it for at least a couple of months to see how it works before we change it? Or, you've probably done it too, where someone's been overweight, you give them a diet, as soon as they get it, they go, when's my cheat day? When's the cheat meal? I'm like, you've been cheating for fucking 15, 20 years. How about you just stick to the diet? And then when you lose some weight, I'll throw in a cheat meal. But they all want this because they read so much about it. They think they can do like a pro thing. And so many young kids now, like you said, I do seminars and the cycles they say, I'm like, us pros didn't take that much. Oh, you're lying. You pros take more. I'm like, swear to God, we don't. Usually using more than the pros because they see it online. I'll say, this is my cycle. You're lying. I heard you do this. I'm like, I'm the guy taking it. I know what I take. You're getting my cycle from a guy who's never even met me, but he's going to tell you what I'm taking. I'm like, come on, use your brain.
Like, I don't know if you guys, everybody's running to the coach boss of Outlaw now, right? So, everybody gets this name and they run over there and they think they have like some secret formula. He even went on a podcast and literally said, there's no secrets I'm doing. Yeah. I literally just stay close contact with them. And I'm not going to say who, but one of his top clients right now, I spoke to for a little bit. He needed to bring up a certain body part. And I was like, yeah, I think you need to use a little site enhancing oil, which I do believe in, a time and place. I'm not one of these guys that's going to lie and like, oh, no bodybuilders use this stuff, blah, blah, blah. I do believe site enhancing oil has a time and place. And I said, hey, man, like, I think your biceps might need a little bit. I helped him out a little bit with it. And he's like, dude, this hurts too, blah, 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 blah. He's now coached by Boss of Outlaw. And I heard now that he is using it in his arms, and he just needed someone else to tell him that. Like, he didn't trust me, I guess. Maybe he was close to my age or whatever. And I'll address this comment real quick, Dave. No, I'm 10 years under most of these guys. So, like, my first show was 02, and it was actually Lee Priest's first show that he put on. So when I say back in my day, I'm saying my day. These guys are older. Like, I'm 41. These guys are, like 50, right?
51, yeah.
I'm 35.
King's 35. But yeah, that's what I mean when I'm talking. Like, I'm 10 years younger than all, but yeah. But everybody's running at Boss of Outlaw, and he has no secrets. And I heard what he's doing now because this guy at my gym, he wanted to hire him, and this guy's not a top competitor or anything. but he's referring people to like people underneath him now to have like coach him because he's so busy. You can only coach. Fuck, you take. I know you take on tons and tons of people. You could only take on so many people until you start messing up, right? Like you have a certain limit, and then you're gonna mess up.
Shit, I
eventually.
remember Fakhri made a post a while back where he said, "I can't take on any more fucking people. I'm starting to fucking break out in hives, and I'm getting sick and ill." I remember that post.
Like 3 years ago. Yeah, I had to take a little break off. So, I mean, at my peak, I was prepping 250 people at a time. So, yeah, it sounds fucking insane. But let me tell you how bad it was. This is how bad it was. Remember, King, I had the supplement stores, right?
Yeah.
So, I had a grand opening of my supplement store, which I invested a whole fucking shitload of money into the supplement store. I didn't even make it to the grand opening because I was all night working, and then about like 7 o'clock that morning, I called my team. I was like, I can't make it. They're like, it's the grand opening. I said, I worked all fucking night. Like if I go there, I'm gonna sound. First of all, I have a speech impediment. I stutter and I have a deep voice. You know what I'm saying? So imagine going there with sleep deprivation. But yeah, but now I carry about 100 clients right now, and it's not that hard. I just put in more work than I should. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's these. Let me tell you something, guys, and I'm gonna tell everybody listening to this podcast. If you hire a top coach, there's no fucking way he's doing all your diets. Period. I'm gonna tell you that right now because I work 40 to 60 hours a week. People want to see the sun and people want to see the grass. I don't have kids. I'm not married. I just moved to Florida, so I want to work because all my friends are married and everything else. That's why I can work the 8 hours per day. I finish, I go to the gym, I do what I gotta do. I don't work on Saturdays and Sundays. But yeah, you're right. You're right about that, 100%.
And then people taking on, like you said, like we spoke about when Matt Jensen last time. I never was a fan of his because I knew what he was doing with people, and people didn't believe me. I was like, man, he's getting people sick. He's giving people crazy cycles, and he had his wife, sending out all their diets and stuff. So and then he had other people working underneath him and all that. It's like it doesn't work that way. Like if you're a good coach, you can't teach somebody underneath you how to coach like you. It doesn't work like that. And they're with this. Oh, I'm with team, whatever it's called, and you have the top coach that's a great coach. Then you got all these people under them trying to learn what they're doing, and it doesn't work that way. Some people can read every single book there is, study everything there is. Like a lot of these really, what they call them, like science-based trainers today or whatever, and they can read everything there possibly is, and they can't even pick a person for a show, no matter if their life depended on it. Right, Fuck.
The thing with all of us here is we have an eye, right? Like I'm sure you guys could look at somebody in the grocery store and know what they're on. Like you could look at somebody on stage and know if they work out with heavy weights and they have dense muscle. So like that comes from the eye, right? There's certain striations, insertions, where the body fat comes down, where the muscle starts developing from week to week to week. And that's what we look at. Like when I open up an update, it's not like, okay, I'm looking at the picture weight and making a change. Like I'm zooming into shit. I'm zooming into the asses. I'm zooming into the hamstrings. I'm zooming into the shoulders, zooming into the lower back, especially as we're dieting, because that's where the striations start coming in, the insertions and everything else. And that comes from our eye, right? Like, we know that because we've been doing this for such a long time that it's almost like RoboCop. Like a lot of people call me Rain Man. Yeah, I know I'm a little weird, and sometimes you act like Rain Man. It's all right. King knows me.
I don't call you Rain Man.
Rain Man.
Is that why? Do you find you have those clients, like you said, we've been doing it that long, dieting and cardio. Do you ever get the clients? You give them a diet, you give them cardio, you give them the training, and after a couple of weeks, nothing's changed, and you're like, "Are you cheating on the diet?" No. It's like, we know just by changing up a diet, cutting out all the shit food, you naturally drop a couple of pounds of water in the first 2 or 3 weeks, and you tell me nothing's changed. It's like, you're cheating. And then they're like, oh yeah, well, I did have this and I did have that. I'm like, then why are you wasting my time? If you're not going to stick to what I'm giving you, then you're blaming me for it not working.
And another thing with on top of of all the coaches and stuff, but how many women there are, they're like, man, I just want a coach that is not trying to sleep with me, because a lot of, let's be real, the top coaches are men. There's probably some women coaches out there, and all that. But a lot of women, they want men coaches because they know certain guys are good. And then a lot of these guys are getting into it for the wrong reason. I see a lot of these guys with like, all they have is the bikini girls. They're with them and they're like sleeping with. I mean, one of my friends, he's passed away, but he had a team of clients and he was sleeping with like every single girl. And so he had to like shut off his Instagram like every few months because all the girls were after him. I'm like, dude, why don't you just stick with one or two? We like sleeping with every single girl. But the girls are part of it too, because I know you guys have got it too. They'll come to you and be like, well, can we work out a deal or so I don't have much money now. Like, no, this is the price. I'm like, well, I'm cute. I'm like, dude, you know how many girls come and approach coaches and do that? And that's the problem. The guys will do that out there. And I'm sure you get a lot of it like, oh, well, this guy's prepping for free.
There used to be a guy at World Gym, older guy, and he had all these young girls that would come to him and he would train them like old school style and do their diets and stuff. I started seeing one of these girls and dating them. And I couldn't believe this guy was probably in his 60s, looks old. His wife used to compete she trained at World Gym. But all these female clients, I found out, they'd go over there and they'd tell me, they'll just get stark naked. I'm like, you get naked? I said, why? He goes, she's like, oh, because he said that the bikini hides stuff. I'm like, but you wear the bikini on stage. It's not hiding anything. So every one of his female clients, when they went over to his house to pose, would get totally naked because he said the bikini distracted and he couldn't see. I'm like, what the fuck? I said, and you actually got naked? She goes, yeah, I thought that's what you had to do. I'm just like, oh, fuck.
There's this creepy guy up at Destination. He coaches a lot of people. He used to bug the shit out of me, like how to dial his clients. And he would ask me, hey, my clients 2 weeks. I'm like, dude, these are your clients. Why are you asking me every day how to deal with them? Like, he's still up there, but he gives his clients, he takes them in the back room. It's all dark back there. And he massages them after every workout. I'm like, that is so freaking creepy. That's so freaking creepy. I'm like, it's just like, it blows my mind.
That's a great point you brought up right there. There's a lot of coaches out there that contact us and they don't know what they're doing. I got a lot of people who contact me who are coaching a lot of people saying, hey, what am I supposed to do with this person? What am I supposed to do? And I help them out. But at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck are you doing coaching someone if you don't understand the basic ABCs of contest prep? It's astonishing to me. It really is. I tell them. Yeah, Armon, it goes back to the same story. Fakhri, I'll send you something. I sent it to Palumbo, and he called me. He couldn't stop laughing. He literally was laughing so hard. I was like, you got to speak. He goes, I can't. Is this real? I said, this guy is down. He's down in Florida. I'm not going to wreck him. He's just down in Florida. He's got a lot of fucking girls go to him. The diet that he sent to the IFBB Pro, it was the most ridiculous thing. One basil leaf on top of 2 ounces of honey plus a mushroom from South America, grind it into what? It's going to help and smooth out this part and bring out the. I'm looking at this girl. I'm like, please tell me how much did you pay this guy? She goes, I gave him $5 grand up front. $5 grand.
I saw diets like that where this person had it said a bit of rice, but then it said eight green beans. Then it was like 15 blueberries. I'm like, why 8 green beans, not 9 or 10, and 15 blueberries? Why not 17? It's like, why have we have it like so specific? They're like, well, that's what he told me to do. But do you ever get the ones too? You give them a diet and stuff, saying they just do this, and they come back a couple of days later. Oh, you know that diet you give me? I read online if I do this or that, and I asked somebody else in the gym, and they said I should do this. I'm like, then why are you fucking coming to me if you're gonna read online and change it, or you come to me for advice, but then you go ask 10 other people and get their opinions as well? It's like, don't waste my time. You're either going to do it with me or do it yourself or go listen to somebody else, because you ask 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different answers. So
true.
I don't know about you guys.
I'm sorry, man. So this is my reply to that. And again, everybody knows me as a humble guy. I'm always smiling. I'm always laughing, but I'm very competitive and I'm very confident in myself. So when people send me stuff like that, I'm like, so what does your coach look like? Or what does that person look like? Well, how many times have they turned pro? How successful have they been? But I also don't believe in trust the process. I don't like when coaches tell people trust the process, because in order to trust the process, you have to explain the process. So I'm not just gonna tell them that, but I'm gonna show them somewhere on the internet, maybe on artificial intelligence or chat GPT, why it's wrong, or I'll explain it to them. But like you said, Lee, and all you guys said, a lot of these guys make shit up because people believe it. They're like, whoa. I've heard of coaches wearing Blu-ray glasses. You have to wear Blu-ray glasses at nighttime in order to increase your IGF-1 production before you sleep. Think about that. Like, am I walking around the house? Oh, and then you can't watch any TV for like 4 hours. While you wear the Blu-ray glasses.
I did an experiment, Lee. This is for Lee and Fakhri. I did an experiment a while back where I wanted to prove a point to somebody, and he goes, "Well, how are you going to prove it?" I said, "I'll show you how." So every time we got down to the point where it's time to load back up and stuff, I used to always say, "So tomorrow, the day before the show, we're going to start taking the bumblebees." I started using the word bumblebees. Do you know how many people from across the world contacted me begging me for what the fuck are bumblebees? And I'm just making shit up. And it was, I'll pay you for it. I'll wire you. I'll PayPal you money right now. What are bumblebees? There you go, right there. Now we have an entire network of bumblebee idiots on social media making money.
Well, I told you that story I made up because I do those videos for Sam's Fitness in Sydney, just demonstrating the equipment. Then I answer the dumbest questions just for fun. But one of them, I'm going to sit so straight-faced and say this. So I did. And I was talking about back in Arnold's day, because training at World Gym, I'd see Arnold every day. And, I said, in Pumping Iron, when Arnold said getting the pumps like coming, I said, Arnold actually told me what that was. He said, back then, what they used to do was train, and when they would get warm and that, they'd take their jumper off and they'd actually get semen and rub it into the muscle because the pores are opened up, and the semen, because it's testosterone, would go into the muscle and actually help it grow. I said, that's the secret he told me. You wouldn't believe how many emails I got saying, "Hey Lee, I don't think it's working. I've been rubbing semen on my biceps." I'm like, I said, "Did you actually do that?" They're like, "Yeah, because you said it worked." I said, "Fuck me, Dad." I said, "Do you believe everything that's online?" I said, "Think about it." I said, "Putting semen on your muscle is not going to make it grow." I said, "Think of how big your missus' lower back would be if that was the fucking case, for God's sakes." But it's like, I couldn't believe people were doing it because I just said it as a joke, put fucking semen on the muscle, and it was so thin.
So
they want to hear stuff like that. I had this bigger girl, and she used to drive me freaking nuts. Like, "Hey, this friend's doing that, this friend's doing that," and I was like, "Hey, okay." And then it was like off season or something. I told her as a joke, and I was going to stop her, of course, before she did. I told her to go get Fancy Feast, like the cat food. And I said, "Go get some Fancy Feast. Like it has this special protein that metabolizes faster." And she went and bought Fancy Feast, and she's like, "Armon, I got it. This smells really gross. Are you sure?" And I'm like, "It's a joke. It was a freaking joke. You really went and bought Fancy Feast cat food, and you're about to eat."
She didn't text you saying, "I'm not sure which one to get, Armon, the chicken or the salmon or the lamb.
Right,
which one do I get?"
Yeah.
Do I get it in jelly
Fakhri,
or do I get it in jelly or gravy? Which one do I buy? The jelly or the gravy one?
When I was in Dubai, I was this was about 8-9 years ago. I went out. There was a show going on. It was an amateur show. It was Hadi was still an amateur. He was competing at that show, and I went outside for a split second, and I saw about 100 guys taking cigarettes and going with the cigarettes. And I looked over and I'm like, "Wow, man, these guys are hooked on it. They're all cigarette mania." He goes, "No, King." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "They think that it's going to dry them out." This is the kind of stuff, again, once this stuff goes viral, then you're going to see people trying to overdose on cigarettes because which leads to the next thing that I was going to discuss. Okay. Which is the most important thing. All right. Don't want to put you on the spot, but we always put people on the spot. Iron OGs, we talk about the truth. What's your opinion on the Trend Twins? What do you think about that?
How much time do they have to live?
It's funny. When they first came out, I was like,
"What'd you say?" He broke up. What did you say? Something, Fox?
How much time do they have to live?
Lee, you go first. We go first, and then Fakhri. I want to know what you guys really think about the Trend Twins.
I'm going to be diplomatic. I said I like it because they like me. They're a big fan of mine. So.
What if they didn't like you, Lee?
when it first came out, I started watching them, but I didn't watch them at first because I'm like, who would fucking call themselves the Trend Twins? Just the name, I'm like, why put fucking a steroid in the name? And then I watched them, they're entertaining and stuff like that. Actually, they just sent me a message 4 days ago. They're like, Lee, we're going to do one of your bulk up days. So can you give us a rough breakdown of what you ate? Because we want to do a video. So I just said, well, I had IHOP for breakfast. I'd have a milkshake first at home with 5 eggs in it, bananas and that. Then I'd go to IHOP and have a steak and eggs and the Dutch pancakes, whatever. And then I'd go train. Then after training, I'd eat steak and rice. But then an hour later, I'd go to have Chinese or McDonald's. But I said, in between all these meals, I'm like a cow. I'm still grazing. Like I might grab a handful of cashews and then 20 minutes later, grab another ice cream bar. So I was having big meals, but in between those meals, I was still constantly picking at food. So I gave them a quick breakdown. So don't be surprised if you see the Trend Twins do this fucking awful video about eating junk food because I told them what to eat.
They'll do it. Fakhri, Trend Twins. Be honest, man. Be honest.
Yeah, man. You know me. I'm always honest, man. Listen, when it's a matter of time, right? Steroids and PDs are not fucking candy. Okay, You could abuse that shit for 10, 15 years, but eventually it's gonna catch up to you. You know, eventually your GFR is gonna get lower. You know, your kidneys are gonna get fucked up. You know, you're gonna get cholesterol in your arteries, and you're gonna have a heart attack. You're gonna have a stroke. You know, all of us here know at least 10, 15, 20 people that have died. You know, not directly from steroid use, because nobody has ever died directly from steroid use. They have died from causes of steroid use, right? So it's a matter of time. And I hate seeing that shit. Like, I fucking really hate seeing that shit. I hate seeing it because, one, it's being done because of social media. If social media didn't exist, nobody would do that, right? Because nobody would get paid for clicks. Nobody would get paid for views. It wouldn't happen. You know, of course, all of us know people back in our day that abuse steroids, but not even to the point of where people are doing it now. So no, I don't like that shit. I don't like seeing any of that shit from anybody, man. Like I love bodybuilding. Like I love bodybuilding. I get emotional even when I talk about it because I can't compete anymore at my highest level. But when I see shit like that, it really bothers me because, like the movie that just came out, right? The bodybuilder that just came out. That is a horrible movie to come out because now everybody's gonna be like, you know what? It's okay to act with roid rage. That's how people act. It's okay to act that way. It's okay to shut out the world and be a dick. Like stuff like that, I don't like seeing, man. I was able to separate my life from bodybuilding. I bodybuilt, I ate, trained, did what I had to do, but then I had a separate life with the family, my mother, my brothers. I was married at the time, you know, and it combined the two. But I never had roid rage. King, did you ever see me and King used to go out to clubs and there was things going on all around us. We would never like.
Your wife had roid rages, not you.
My wife.
I remember she was a feisty girl.
She was Puerto Rican.
Yeah. I remember punched a bouncer in the face at
Yeah, because we got into something and
I remember that.
Grabbed me. But yeah, do
you find too, like the Trend Twins, or a lot of people do it now too? It's more, I get worried because you see them get injured now because they're trying to impress their viewers by doing silly lifts or going heavy and stuff like this. We see a lot more people getting injured just doing stupid shit in the gym. And it's like you said, that movie coming out, what Magazine Dreams out now. I said, man, did they touch on every fucking, the heart thing with the steroids, the roid rage, the gay bit, I think, isn't there a scene where he's kissing Michael Hearn or something, or there's some gay thing implied? I said, every stereotypical thing you can think of, they did. And I'm like you, I never had roid rage ever. Occasionally I might get mad just because I don't want to eat fucking chicken and rice again. I want to go have a fucking hamburger, so I get pissed off, but I just take myself to bed and sulk. But I said, if roid rage was an actual thing, every gym, because we know most gyms back in the day, even now, are full of people taking it. Every gym would be like a UFC match every night if there was roid rage, because it's like I say, we could be driving a car. A 120-pound guy gets cut off, he jumps out. Oh, he's angry. If any of us jump out the car with a little bit of muscle, roid rage, look at him. It's like, No, we do get angry if someone is a dickhead, but it's got nothing to do with the steroids. It's like people that drink. You can be a happy drunk, or you get people that drink and I'll fucking fight you. Shut your mouth. I'll knock you out. It's like if you're an asshole to begin with, you're an asshole on the drugs or steroids or alcohol. It just brings out your natural fucking whatever's in you to begin with.
Lee, there's a great video. There's a great video out there. I'm sure every one of us has seen. Every one of you guys have seen that. The one where Guy Sistorino is squatting, and some people are in front of him. Okay,
that was a destination. Yeah,
exact thing.
Do it to the side. Do it to the side.
I would have done the same exact thing because you have to put yourself in the situation where you're hack squatting really, really heavy. You're mentally, you're focused. You got the blinders on. You're going and you're grinding as hard as you can. You're probably hungry. You're in contest prep, and people are laughing. And I would have done this. That's not roid rage. That's just the being at the right place at the right time, doing the thing. Because I guarantee you, that's like going and somebody concentrating on a golf swing, and I'm talking in the background. They're going to turn around and say, "Hey, shut the fuck up." Is that a roid rage? No.
Or tennis.
It's
tennis.
almost,
They always say to the crowd to be quiet.
Lee, I understand.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
I could have had roid rage once. I always tell this story. Mitch was filming. I don't know if he's got it on film, and there was some tourists there, so they came in like Japanese tourists. I'm squatting 6 plates, just looking in the mirror, so focused. Halfway through the set, Japanese tourist stands in front of him, his camera, flash in my face. I'm like, fuck. What the fuck? Out of the blue. I just thought, well, who the fuck would do something like that? Like, actually stood in front of me. That's when they had cameras, not the actual phones. And his big flash goes off and just threw me to fuck off because I wasn't expecting it. I'm like, fucking hell.
Talking about all the drugs and the trend stuff, trend twins and all that. Like, I do think certain compounds like trend does affect people because mostly not bodybuilders, because we know what to expect. Like, hey, we're about to start this. It's a strong compound, whatever. But you got a lot of kids that will start it, and they do start acting stupid. They'll start maybe like, being dicks, or someone started this rumor that who said that trend next you want to do gay acts with guys. I think Greg Doucette said that. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Like, that's the stupidest thing. What do you mean Trent wants to be gay?
I just can't believe it's like the shit I read about Trent. Like I said, I took it 4 times, and the last time I took it when I was with Kathy, I thought I was dying because, you get the cough. But this one time I took it, I got the cough, but then I couldn't breathe. And I swear it was like someone put a metal spike through my chest. The pain that shot across my chest, I had to let go of the needle. I'm standing there gasping, the needle's hanging out my arm. I thought, fuck, is this how it's going to end? I never used it since. And now you go anywhere you read, I'm irritable, I can't sleep, I can't eat, this and that. I'm thinking, if a drug makes you feel that bad, why the fuck are you taking it? Just because it's the in thing to take? I'm like, any drug that makes you feel that bad physically and mentally, get off it. Go do tests, go do sus, go do fucking something else. That's fucking crazy. But all these young kids now, it's all you see, trend. I'm like, these are fucking nuts. And the amount they take, oh fuck.
Well, I mean, let's be real. You could be skinny. You could be like, let's say you get a teen. I would say he's 18, and he's pretty skinny. If he takes trend for like 10 or 12 weeks, he's going to put some hardness and size on. He's going to look a lot bigger, and be like, okay. So it does work, obviously, but they don't understand. Like, listen, if you start with a little bit of testosterone and then maybe add this later on and this later on, and eventually, if you're going to do a competition, then this, people don't understand. You use all this stuff when you're younger, you burn out. We've seen many bodybuilders burn out because they've used so much stuff, and then your body just stops responding. They don't understand. And a lot of people's like, oh, that's been debunked. That's not true. Like, no, it is true. We've seen a lot of guys that they were great bodybuilders, and then all of a sudden they disappear because they grew way too fast. And we see it now all the time. These guys are making gains within 2 or 3 years that they should be making in 10 years. And it does make the muscle look different.
Well, I think the drugs too is like training. If you're going to start and you're going to get to the point where you use it, start with the basics, just like training. Stick to the basics, dumbbell presses, flies, and that. Because so many young kids now with this bro science, they're like, I just want to work this part of my delt here. Just how do I bring this bit out? I'm like, you haven't even got a delt to begin with to worry about sculpting it. Build the muscle first. It's almost like, if you're a sculptor or Michelangelo is doing the statue of David, he starts with the big piece of clay or whatever, marble, and he works it down. He gets the main muscles. Then he starts putting in the definition. These young kids now, we're like, how do I just work this part of my chest? I'm like, you want to work that part, but you don't want to work the whole chest. How are you going to isolate just that one piece? It's like you're overthinking it. Just stick to the basics. And it's like, if you're going to do gear, start with tests, start with maybe Decker or D-Bowl. Do the basics first before you're getting into SARMs and insulins and growth hormones and trends and that. It's like they're trying to, like I said, they're trying to go from 0 to 200 in 1 second. It's like ridiculous.
This is a good
Well,
question for Fakhri. Armon, read
yeah. Would Fakhri work again with a past client if athletes didn't go well the first time around?
Yeah, I just want to question myself. Yeah, I've done it many times.
And why? And why do you like? I've had clients that like that before too, Fakhri, and it's like they didn't trust you the first time around, and it's like they come back, and I've done it before. They come back, and I usually don't get those people are the ones that usually like coach hop around nonstop. They've literally hired every coach there is that you know of. So why do you take that athlete back?
Because I know I do my very best. So if something didn't go right the first time around, it's not because I didn't do my very best. I literally do my very fucking best. Like every prep that I do, it's my prep. Like if I prep somebody, it's their prep, but I'm living vicariously through this prep. So I know it's not my fault. So if somebody comes back, I'm gonna discuss with them why I didn't come back. And I'm the type of coach that if you're in gear for like a month and a half and you're not making changes, test your shit. You know, other coaches are not going to tell you to do that because they want to keep getting that monthly pay in, right? The monthly pay, the whatever, 6 months, 12 months, they want to keep getting paid. But I'm the type of person that if you're not, you know, you mentioned this earlier, if you're not making changes, I'm going to tell you, 1, you're cheating real quick. 2, your drugs are fake because we know when we take PDs, right? Like we know we could look in the mirror and be like, yeah, it's working. You know what I'm saying? But some people take PDs and they if you're wondering if the PDs are working, most likely it's not working. You know, so 1, I do my very best with everybody and I take them back. 2, I go over what happened, you know, and why things didn't work out. And then 3 would be if you're the type of person that jumps around from coach to coach to coach, as you said, Armon, then I'm going to require a 6 months or 12 months payment up front. You know, and that's how I do it.
Very smart. Very smart.
Yeah, I mean, with these guys that do that too, I think a lot of them, you know, about the fake drugs. Like I lose a lot of clients because they come to me and they're like, "Hey, will you be able to get my stuff for me?" I'm like, "No." Well, my last coach did. I'm like, "Okay, well, how did that work out for you? Why are you hiring a new coach if your last coach got all your stuff for you?" Like, I'm not a drug dealer. I'm a, you know, whatever. I get it. You know, helping a friend out here and there, whatever. I'm sure we've all done that. But I'm like, you can't like expect a coach to get your stuff for you. I mean, that's how you're going to get, you know, in trouble and stuff like that. But a lot of these drugs that they are taking, you talked about it, they're fake. Hey, go test it. Whether there's Roy test, there's that Janus chick they can send it into or whatever and test the actual milligram to it. But I think a lot of people have expectations when they get on gear. Like you'll get some overweight guy and like, hey, I want to get on some Winstrol and this because I want to burn some fat off. Like you got to explain to them, like it's not that doesn't burn fat off you. If you're below, you know, if you're over this body fat percentage, you can take the craziest cycle there is, and you're probably not going to. You might get stronger at the gym, but you're not going to see any difference in your body if you have all this body fat percentage. So I think a lot of people expect way too much out of the drugs too. Like Keen always talks about is food. Like, you know, like what are you eating? You're like, well, I can't get this many meals in a day, but I'm taking, you know, Anadrol and this. I'm like, well, you can't eat the food because Anadrol is killing your appetite. So trust me, come off the Anadrol, get the food in, and you'll grow. And they don't want to hear that answer because they just want that pill to take or that shot to take. That's going to enhance it. Don't get me wrong. Obviously,
So steroids.
Go ahead.
Steroids do not increase muscle. Period. Steroids do not increase muscle. What steroids do is it increases the protein synthesis of the muscle, increases the mTOR production of the leucine to increase muscle, and increases your recuperation. And all that together is what causes muscle growth. If you take steroids and you sit on the couch, the most that's going to happen is you're going to preserve what you have because that's what they give it to AIDS patients, cancer victims, stuff like that. Anavar, Anadrol, Unimade, Androl, you know, stuff like that. So what everybody has to understand that steroids themselves do not put on muscle. It's the protein synthesis of the food, the faster recuperation, and then, you know, adding resistance to the body, adding more and more resistance in some form. It doesn't have to be with more weight and more reps, but it has to be added resistance, and that's how the muscle grows. It's not
Fuck,
just
I got
the
for you.
Don't kill dreams like that, because I always get told if I took what you're taking, I could look just like you. I'm like,
right.
really?
Which leads to the question I'm going to ask Fakhri. Fakhri, what do you do about clients who compare themselves to your elite clients? I get that all the time. Why don't I look like Lacey? Why don't I look like Mari? What do you do? What's she doing any different? How do you get over that?
Yeah. So I asked him, well, how long have they been training? How long have they been on the scene? How long have they been, taking gear? How long have they been, eating correctly? What are you doing wrong?
How do you get over the genetic hump? Because people don't want to hear that. Like Lee just said, people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear the fact that Lee Priest at 16 looked like he was a IFBB pro. No, that's a fact of life. It's genetics. And a lot of my clients, they don't want to hear that. They think that that's not how in one ear and out the other.
They're lying. You're lying. Those guys are, you're lying. You're lying. Your guys, you're old. You're lying. That's all
I
they
just
say.
posted a picture of myself when I was 14 years old, and I got all these people contacting me like, "You got to be kidding me."
That's the one after sure, right?
14. I boogie boarding and eating hot dogs. I didn't lift weights, but that's the way I looked. I was cut up. I had lats. I had some pecs.
I get the same thing, because I was competing at 13. I was skinny as I think I weighed 50 kilos, but I was just like a lean greyhound. You could see the muscle, but it wasn't big. It looked like a greyhound. And I won the schoolboys division under 18 at 13. I get stuff all the time. What cycle were you on then? I'm like, what? I said, I didn't even know about it. I was doing a bit of weight training, but I was doing more stuff in the garage at home because Rocky IV come out. So I was doing all what he did in the old barn. I'm doing those sit-ups with my legs, got chin-ups and lifting shit. I was pushing my mother's car back and forth in the driveway with the handbrake off just for exercise like that. But people are like, okay. Then when I started competing with my mum, I was still 17 natural. What drugs were you giving your mum? I'm like, what? She's 38. She just dieted down and got in shape. Oh, you two had to be on something. I'm like, you can't tell them. If they got it in their head, it's almost like, if I can't do it, then nobody can. If I have to take drugs, you can do it. It's like nobody wants to believe that there are actually people out there, whether it's bodybuilding, business, that people are just bettering you, and people don't want to accept that. There's always got to be a reason why. It's like, because he's cheating, he's doing something.
I pray sometimes that somebody does a documentary or was around when Kevin Levrone was competing. He would, for 6 months, play in his rock band. He would play guitar. He would eat. He would shrink down to an
he looked like that.
Normal guy. And then within 3 weeks, he's filling out his T. Michael sweatshirt in the gym. And then people will be like, "What the hell? Genetics, Kevin? Genetics? That's what it was." But people want to.
You know who I saw do that once? Gary Stridham, when he had a shoulder injury. He come back to golds. I think this was just after the WBF. Remember, he was so massive in that. And then he came back to the gym. I mean, skinny as. I'm like, fuck, is that Gary? But once he got back into training, I swear, week by week, it looked like he's putting on 10, 15 pound of muscle every week. And because if you see someone every day, you don't really see changes. But because he was thin, every week, I'm like, what the fuck is this cunt doing? He's just growing. And my Christian was the same sometimes. My Christian would take time off, start touching the weight again, eating, get on a little bit of gear. My God, you'd see him grow week by week. I'm thinking, fuck me, dead. Just like I said, it's the mindset, the training that, but just the elite genetics these guys have and respond to gear. You can't get that out of a bottle. Like I said, it's just genetics and everything, mindset, the drive you have inside. Because I always tell people, you can be strong physically and that, but if you get into bodybuilding with the diet, the routine, the consistency, the strongest thing you're ever going to use is fucking up here, not your muscles. So.
I think you got a lot of guys too, like a couple.
I have.
I didn't hear you. Go ahead, Falk. I didn't hear you.
Yeah, can I say it? Yeah. So I have a very funny story about this. I went to the New York Pro one year, and my ex-wife, her favorite bodybuilder was Kevin Levrone. So Kevin comes and sits in front of us, and she's like, "Oh my God, Kevin Levrone, Kevin Levrone!" I'm like, "Yo, shut the fuck up!" Right? So he gets up and goes to the bathroom. So I get up and follow him to the bathroom too. So the bathroom's completely fucking empty. He's in one urinal. So I stood right next to the other urinal, and I looked at him. I looked in the mirror. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm bigger than Kevin." That was in May. September, he finished second to Ronnie.
Yeah, that's Kevin, man.
Yeah.
fucking genetic mutant.
You got guys, I think, that look at these guys too. Like I was saying, I got a couple buddies that contacted me not too long ago. They competed before, and you got these guys. You probably helped out your friends before, and you might have prepped them 6 times. They maybe made it to the stage twice just because they can't do it. And they've been out for years. They want to compete again. They're like, hey, you think I can win maybe the show? And this. I'm like, dude, you've been like 170 pounds for the last 2 years. They're like, yeah, but when I start, my body reacts real quick. They think their genetics are better than they really are. I'm like, yeah, you might go to 170 to 200 in like a month or so, but when you diet down, you're not going to keep any of that tissue. And you've got a lot of people that think their genetics are way better than they really are too. So you got to throw in, like Lee and King and all your genetics are elite genetics, but you got to really explain to other people too, because I have the clients too. I'm like, listen, you're going to have to take a little bit more than this person is, just because your genetics aren't as good. And I'm just being real with you, because they're like, well, my friends, because you got the total opposite too, with people that don't want to take anything and they think they can get to a certain level. I'm like, listen, this person's got crazy genetics. Like, you're going to have to take a little bit more than them to get to where you want to get. I mean,
and I think we've all seen it too. How many times do you see? It's like, I've said it before. I have friends that play golf and tennis on the weekends, but they do it for fun. It's a hobby. They're not saying, hey, Lee, in a year's time, I'm going to take on Nadal and Djokovic. I'm going to smash him. It's like, but for some reason, every guy, whoever goes into a gym, takes a bit of steroids, thinks they can become a pro bodybuilder and get massive. I said, look, we all have our limitations. And this is where you really got to be a realist with yourself, because you might have a good physique, but it might only be good for regional shows. You might never get to the nationals and win. Then you might get the ones that get to the nationals, do well, but never win it. Then you get the ones who will get their pro card, but they're never going to be a pro, like a good pro. They're just going to look like still a good amateur. But they don't realize that. I've seen guys waste their life where they'll give up on relationships. They won't get a job because I'm going to be a pro no matter what. And years go by, they're pumping the gear in, they're doing whatever, still haven't got it. And I'm thinking, you're wasting your life. You put all your eggs in one basket. It's like, look, if you love training and you want to build a physique, that's great. But if it doesn't work out, try have another avenue to go to. Don't just waste your life on this dream that's never going to happen, sadly. It's like, I might want to be in the NBA, but it's never going to happen. I'm not tall enough to go in the NBA and do shit like that. I might play basketball at home for fun, but I'm a realist. I'm not thinking, oh, I'm going to be with the Lakers next year because I bounce a ball. So that's the thing with bodybuilding. Now, everyone that goes into the gym and takes a bit of gear, I can look like you. Why don't you? Oh, because I don't want to take as much as you. I worry about my health. It's like, fuck off. You're taking more than me. You just got shit genetics. It's not going to happen.
But then you got a coach though that will tell them, yeah, I can get you there. Just take their money, and then they'll take their money as long as they can until that person realizes, hey, they were just taking my money the whole time. And we're honest with our clients. 'Cause I tell people all the time, like, yeah, I know you'd want to get there. Or like, oh, you just don't have, I can do whatever I put my mind to it. Like, no, it doesn't really work like that with bodybuilding. I mean, we've seen people do great and go past their genetics, but it doesn't really work that way. Like, if your structure looks like this, you can't really change this or this. Like, so you could be why are you thinking about even win nationals? How about, hey, let's focus on a local show. How about win the overall at a local show? That's a great goal for you. They're thinking way too far ahead. And I'm just like, you're just not there.
I was training this guy once, and he did well. He won the worlds and that. And I was training another guy at the same time, and he knew I was training my friend Jake, who won. He used to get into arguments with me. Why don't I look like Jake? What are you giving him that you're not giving me? I'm like, you are two different people. You're on a different diet because he can handle carbs. He doesn't go any lower than 250. You're on 50 grams because you put weight on. You got a different metabolism. I ended up just dropping him. I said, look, do you want a refund? I'll give you money back, because every little thing, well, you got to be doing something different with him because I don't look like him. I'm like, fuck me, Dad. I said, that's because you're not him. You're a different person. It's like, but he couldn't understand that. So I just went, oh, fuck it. I can't handle this shit.
Yeah, we've all been.
I've lost friends with reputations because of that.
Fakhri, who's your number one? Who's your star client right now? Somebody that's going to shine. Somebody that's going to be like, everybody's going to see and say, wow.
In bodybuilding, just clients overall, like another
clients
sport.
overall, female, male, it doesn't matter. Who's your flex wheeler?
I wish I had one. I have a couple of young kids that are, one is 21 and one is one is 19 and one is 22. I also have a client who's 17 who's really good. He's from Brazil. He trains at Kissimmee Gym. I think he's gonna be really good. But like Olympia caliber, not I can't say right now because they're not developed yet. You know.
Right. You have that wellness girl. I think she's Dominican or something like that. She's actually,
Sarah?
you know what I'm talking. You know what I'm talking about?
Sarah?
I think that's the one. She's got tiny little waist.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Sarah's actually my ex-girlfriend. And she messaged me the other day. She was like, "Well, you're training with this new girl now. I wish you would have trained with me." I'm like, "You didn't train serious back then." You know what I'm saying? She started training serious like last year. So last year she did her first wellness show. She won the Metropolitan, and then she missed a pro card by like 2 points.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah, so she's gonna be really good, but she goes back to what we're talking about. She has that mentality, she has that killer drive, you know, and she has really good genetics too.
Hey,
she's your girlfriend, so you're giving her all the secrets. You're treating her.
Well, that's my ex-girlfriend. My new girlfriend, you guys don't see her. Man. I put up a video that she did. Yeah, no, my new girlfriend did 18 plates on the leg press for 12 reps, 14 plates on the squat machine. Yeah, King, that's what I said. I better go home and take some tread.
What do you think about people? You know, like we know the coaches that only have cherry picked their clients over the years, and I was never like that. I enjoy, and me King talk about all the time. I always enjoyed working with people that look like shit. And like you can tell them like, hey, we're going to do a show one day, and they don't believe you, and like you take them to the show and they win. I think that's rewarding to me. You know, a lot of people like, you know, always were like Hani. He always cherry pick clients, and he would. I mean, he would only work with people like because when I worked with them, and I tried to send a couple of my buddies to them at the time because I didn't want to problem at the time, and he wouldn't take them. He's like, they don't have the genetics that I can take very far. And you know, what do you think about those type of clients that people don't understand? They might have the top 3. You know, on the Olympia stage or whatever stage, it's Arnold, whatever, top show. But then they have, you know, 50 other clients that aren't even placing and aren't even doing well. What are your thoughts on the coaches like that? And
I used to always say that because nothing against Hani, but he'd always say the pro creator. I'm thinking most of your clients who are the pros doing well, they're already there. They're already established. They're already winning shows when they come to you. So you might have helped them out mentally, tweaked them a bit. But these people like Ronnie and all these are already champions before you got him. It wasn't like you got Ronnie as a teenager and created him and made him a Mr. Olympia. So, you know, I think it's weird that when you see all these, like you said, you pick them because really when you see someone like Ronnie or Phil Heath, you know, the guys we're talking the top 1%, I'd joke around and say, listen, my grandmother could train you. She knew enough about bodybuilding with me living with her. My grandmother could tell Ronnie to eat chicken and rice and go train back and do this, and he'd fucking win the Olympia. So I think sometimes these coaches get too much credit for, like you said, I want to see him get someone like Armon said, who's really, if you look at him and go, I don't know. But then you take them and mold them and they become this great champion out of nothing because the ones that are already champions, you can just see it no matter what they do. Flex Wheeler, for instance, he would eat shit food, hardly do any cardio, turn up and win shows. So it's like he just had the genetics to do that, whereas a lot of people don't. So I like to see, even like I said, normal people. I had more fun training normal people. You get an overweight person and you bring them down, lose weight, now they feel better about life. They can play with the kids. They got more energy. Because sometimes dealing with male bodybuilders or even female bodybuilders, it's a pain in the fucking ass. It's just like, come on. It's like, get in touch with reality. It's like, you know.
Well, a lot of the beginners too. It's you know, when you get a seasoned guy, it's so much easier at a certain level because let's when you get a beginner, you have to explain like, hey, I need you to get this. They're like, what is that? What does it do? I don't like when you get a guy that's already been doing it for years. They know what they're doing already. They just need someone to watch them closely and dial them in, all that kind of stuff. So that's the huge difference too between working with top level guys because they got you know, most of them usually have worked with so many coaches too. They might not be listening to everything you say. I'm sure you get that a lot of thought. You're like, hey, dude, let's be real. Are you doing what I'm telling you to do? Like, no, well, I'm like, why are you doing that? Because you're not listening to me, and that's going to affect the way you look. Like, it makes no sense, but these guys still do it today. And I think a lot of these top pros now, they do that a lot. It's not like guys that were like 10, 15, 20 years ago that they might have listened a lot easier to whatever their coach says. I'm sure. Do you get that a lot, Falk, where these guys just like, question you all the time? You're like, listen, dude, like, you're gonna listen to me or not? Like, I'm telling you what you need to do for yourself.
Yeah. So what I do is, tell me why it makes sense. Like, let me know what makes sense out of it. Do you think, can you explain why it makes sense? No, it's just because somebody said it, or because somebody in the internet. I you know what I get a lot? I get a lot of people sending me messages about people saying shit on the internet. People talking about Primo, Masteron, and blah blah blah. One of the things I fucking hate is when people talk about Primo is safer than testosterone. So let's dig into this one a little deep, because this has been a really big topic, especially since Kuwait, since the Middle Eastern bodybuilding Kuwait and everything else started. So milligram per milligram, Primo is more dangerous than testosterone. So 1,000 megs of primobolan is going to increase your GFR level. You're going to filtrate. You're going to synthesize more protein, and you're going to filtrate more protein through your kidneys. So that increases your GFR, which then increases your GFR rate, which lowers your GFR, which is your kidneys. Your filtration of the kidneys. So it's stuff like that. Like, another thing was, a couple of weeks ago, somebody was talking about Masterone has no effect on your DHT. Bro, Masterone is DHT. You know what I'm saying? So those are the type of things that I have to battle against a few times a week. And when clients ask me questions, again, I answer them. I don't have a problem answering them at all. But I make sure that I answer them correctly enough for them to understand that it's wrong. Or it might be right. I might say, you know what? This might make sense. Because the day you stop learning is the day you stop living. So, we have to keep learning, but we also know how much stupidity happens on the internet, and how much, again, like we talked about earlier, all the dumb shit, fucking bumblebees, fucking jerking off in the gym, you know what I'm saying? All that stuff happens in the world and people believe it.
Listen, I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but I have to do this just out of complete respect because I loved her so much. I don't know if you guys, I know Lee and Fakhri, I don't know Armon, maybe she's a little bit behind you, but the CJ passing away was something incredible. It hurt because she was part of people don't understand. When you went to a show, to an IFBB show, you were expecting to see the blonde Greek smile and the joking, and she'll come and she'll smack you on your ass and do that. I even brought her on stage for a routine one time, not a guest posing, an actual routine that I did. She came on stage and put glasses on me, and she was a part of us.
Yeah,
and
she was like a fixture. She was like a
family. My heart goes out to everything, and I wish I could have talked to her a little bit more. And if you guys have something else to say, because I really this one hurt.
She was like a fixture. Like you said, any pro show, you could guarantee she would be there. Like you said, without asking, she'd come over. Do you need anything? Do you need a hand? Whether it be trunks, she'd have a plastic glove on to touch up your oil or your tan. And like I said, once she started making my trunks, without fail, I'd get a thing. What shows you doing? What color do you want? I'd give her some ideas. She made those famous Superman trunks that I had with the S on the front, looking like Superman's things. Like, whatever you asked her. And then, like I said, half the time I'd always sometimes pay her, but then she'd be like, I don't want your money. I'm just sending them to you. Yeah, she'd never expect money, which I felt bad about because she just had that passion. But like you said, you could, no matter who was there, you'd always have even like, who's that one expediter, the black guy? He was there always a fixture on stage. Yeah, well, that's like CJ. Every show, like you said, King, you turn around, there she is in her clothes, helping out everybody. You'd see her rubbing tan on Ronnie. Next thing she's putting oil on here. Next thing she'll be down there fixing somebody's trunks. Or I've even seen her prejudging. I don't like them trunks. And I don't know if she had a machine there, but then she'll be coming back with a new pair of trunks for the guy for the night show and go, put these on. These are better. And she'd always have those good colors that had like the sparkles in them, the stuff. But she was, like I said, she's going to be sadly missed. Like I said, every show, like you just expected to see her there because she was at all of them.
Fakhri.
You guys said it all, man. It's like she's gonna be missed. She didn't just love bodybuilding, but she was a wonderful person. And it's hard to find good people in this world, and it's even harder to find good people in this sport.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
She was one of them.
Yeah.
Talking about the industry and all that, guys, for all three of y'all, who do you guys think is the best person right now for the industry, and who is one of the worst for the industry? It could be like a group of people, or it could be like a certain person that might be giving out just total misinformation, leading people in the wrong direction. And then like one of the most positive people right now, they're actually, giving out a lot of good information or whatever it be in the industry. Lee?
I don't really know. I don't really watch. I watch your podcast with King and that, and I always like listening to that. And when it comes to podcasts, I normally just stick to the few. I didn't really like it at first, but I've been hooked on listening to Bob and Sean talk lately just because I like listening to it. Like Bob and I've had our run-ins, and Sean and I've had our run-ins, but some of the stuff now I'm like, that makes sense a bit. Whether I'm just getting older and more senile, I'm agreeing with Bob and Sean. Now I've
when it
lost
comes
my
to
mind.
Bob, you're okay. When it comes to Sean, you're getting senile, man.
Hollywood.
So it's funny. I used to always laugh because when Paul lived with me, Paul would always be going on about Sean. I said, but Sean's your friend. It's like, no, he's not. He talks shit about me and Flex and that. I said, yeah, but come on, he's a brother. And this is no word. Paul Dillett goes, a brother. He goes, you seen him backstage? He's like, he's an embarrassment to the black men. Sean Ray.
Fakhri, what about you? Right side.
Yeah, so we talked about the bad side of the industry already. I mean, I'm gonna group that up in just one category. That's just the whole bad side of the industry. All the misinformation, all the people that know what they're saying is wrong, and they keep saying it because they want to get their monthly gas bill paid and car bill and everything else. So that's the bad part of the industry. The good part of the industry is are you actually like one person, Armon, or?
It could be one person, Fuck, or just like a group of people, or just overall influence right now, because it's totally different. Like than the last 10 years. In the last 10 years, it changes like every 5 to 10 years, like the whole industry type. And like I was, telling King, and then Lee goes every year, so Lee knows like the crowds, the shows, and all that. I'm not sure if you still go like the Olympia or Arnold's or anything like that, but like at the Arnold, the Trin Twins had the longest booth out of everybody there. I mean, there was lines like that. Like I wasn't there, but everybody told me, and my lead can probably attest to that. So it could be just one person or just a group of people or whatever.
I think we have some pretty good ambassadors in bodybuilding. Derek is a good ambassador. Samson's a good ambassador. Hadi's a good ambassador. So I think the top guys, are pretty much good ambassadors. You have Nick Walker, who I know personally, who's a really good guy. Very competitive, but he's a really good guy. I can't say I've never been able to. I can't say I've always said people are good ambassadors in the top one tier of bodybuilding, because that's not the truth. We all know a bunch of assholes that we competed against, that we saw, and everything else. We know, right? We just talking about one of them. But I think right now bodybuilding is in a good position, in a good place right now with the ambassadors that we have. At least in the top tier, first, second tier bodybuilding.
What do you think about the new classes too? The new classes, both y'all.
Jay's still a good ambassador too. I think Jay.
Oh yeah.
Good. And
Fibo, yeah.
Another thing I actually do like is, which is being done. Some people don't, but some people do. I do think, whether you agree or disagree, I think it's good that Tyler Mannion gets on there a bit now and explains different things to people with the judging or why things went a certain way. Sure, if you have fans and you have a favorite, you're still not going to agree. You'll be like, nah, bullshit, my guy should have won. But at least he's taken it upon himself to come out and explain more things that people probably wouldn't have known before. So I think that's good for the sport when Tyler does that.
I can answer that, Armon, in a different way. I think the fact that OGs, Fakhri's, Lee Priest, myself, Cormier, we are the voice of bodybuilding. We're still in charge. We did the podcast with Leva the other day, and he's just like, we are the ones that are still relevant. You know why? Because we went through the trenches, we went through the wars, and we didn't get involved. We didn't have social media. We didn't have camera. We didn't have. I remember I had to take Polaroids and mail them to Chad.
Yeah.
That's what we had to do. So we still.
Thank you for including me in that, King, because I'm generally told I'm what's wrong with bodybuilding.
I honestly
you spoke the truth.
The bright spots of bodybuilding.
I'm bad.
I
actually had a female person here in Australia.
Yeah, I'm not saying that because we're friends.
Paul and Carol Graham run the IFBB in Australia, and one of her top judges, anytime I posted online, you're an embarrassment to the sport, you're an embarrassment to Australia, you're disgusting, or because this is when I got suspended, I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, am I that bad? Oh, fuck.
But you never said anything. You never said anything unethical, Lee. Like you spoke the truth.
Yeah, and the thing was too, I never attacked anyone personally.
No.
I know the IFBB would get mad at me, but it was almost like when Arnold at the Arnold Classic mentioned the physique guys. He wasn't mentioning them. He actually said, "You have great legs. The IFBB has silly rules. They should change them to make the short smaller." He wasn't attacking the guys. He was attacking the rules that the IFBB had. And when I would go after the IFBB for the way they treated the athletes, I never singled one certain person out. I just said, in a whole, the athletes needed to be treated better. But then I'll get attacked like Lee's being difficult, Lee's being an asshole. I'm like, I just want to look. I know promoters have to make money, but it's like the guys who are putting their life on the line, sacrifice and whatever. Just be fair, give them their just dues. Whether I remember one show, there was no water backstage, and I mentioned it. Oh, just water. I said, yeah, normally on any given day, it's just water. But when you're dehydrated and dieted down for a show and you're backstage, a bit of water is a big fucking deal. So, it's just crazy.
Yeah. King, were you saying something?
No. I'm just saying that we all respect Lee for what he's done. We think that he's a complete asset for the sport. He still gets in. He stands at a booth. His line is around the corner still, So I think that the fact that we are giving our knowledge, we're Jedi masters, and we got a whole bunch of Padawans right now, and we're passing it down, and they're learning from us. That's the good thing. And we just have to be careful because social media, 99.9% of social media is fake. I pound that in my children's head every time I see them. Don't believe what you see, and it's not just children anymore, even adults. It's fake.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a real problem with the kids coming up, taking a lot of these drugs. So they see the guys with Lamborghinis that can't really afford the lease. They're just barely making it, living in this tiny apartments, like living this facade.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell them that's not. They're like, oh, it's not. I'm like, no, that's not real. Like, think about it. Where are they getting millions of dollars from, other than if you have a YouTube that's over 1 million views or something like that? Like, but where do you think these guys are getting? They don't have money. They're hurting for money. I talk to these people. They can't hire coaches because they don't have the money. It's so whatever. But let's touch on the Fibo real quick. We got Andrew Jack that entered. Sergio was going on there to get that Olympia. Sergio's been out a couple years. I know he went to Spain to train with Dorian, but Dorian really wasn't there much. He was traveling, and then he was like, I didn't really like the style of Dorian. It didn't really work for me. And so Sergio's kind of been all over the place. I know he was in Dubai. He left there because he had that incident that wasn't good. And, people's got to understand in other countries, things don't work a certain way like they do in the States. And it could get pretty scary really fast. And I don't know if you guys saw that stupid prank guy, Vitali. Did you guys see that in the Philippines? Like,
yep.
He's looking at like 10 years because he's going around like acting like a complete fool, like taking cops' hats off, running around, jacking around, and all that. Like, I didn't know how the prank was, but I looked at him like, yeah, that asshole deserves to be locked up for doing that kind of stuff. It's taking it.
Well, he was also being a dick in court while they were reading him his charges. He was being, he was acting stupid in court too. So he deserves.
Yeah,
that's what happens. That's what happens with these idiots that become YouTube stars. And the next thing you know, they're gambling with Dana White, and then Dana White throws a $50,000 chip to him like it's nothing. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You're rich. We know you're rich, Dana. You're a good guy. We all love the UFC. But when you promote these idiots, this is how they're going to act. Like
Nelk boys and all those guys. Yeah.
Whatever I want. See, this is the problem.
Yeah. So Sergio's been out a couple years. He's 40 years old. And then you got Sanson. I think, right, that's how you pronounce his name. I think those are going to be the top three. So I think Sergio was going in here thinking like, okay, I'm going to get this show. This is going to be my, Olympia win. But I think he was maybe under, like Sanson is an amazing bodybuilder. He looks crazy. But now you got Andrew Jack in the mix. So what are you guys' thoughts about how this Fibo is going to go? Is Sergio out too long? Because okay, so here is his 1 day out picture. Let me see if I can pull this up.
It's going to be hard because Sergio to me looks great, but like you said, when you have a bit of time off, it's like now even Nick's looking great, but even with Nick taking those 2 years off from injuries and that, people are questioning Nick's comeback and how he's going to do with the new people. So it is hard when you're being away in that, but he looks great. But it's like I said, it's going to come down. We know that Sassy's going to come in looking great because we just saw him. And Andrew, if he's on, he's going to be hard to beat. So Sergio would have to hope that Andrew slips a bit and maybe comes in soft, but you know.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I think I think Sergio from the back, he doesn't have a lot going on. He hasn't been conditioned in a long time. I think he has an amazing physique, but this is
And
him. I think
Sergio too, he's one of those guys too. It was almost like Regan and that. There's some of them that just don't photograph good in person. They look a
right,
lot
they're
bigger
huge.
and a lot wider and that. And in photos like that, you're thinking, oh, he doesn't look that good. But if he stood beside someone, you're like, oh, fuck, wow, he is impressive. So I think Sergio's just one of those guys too. When you see him in a photo, it's really hard to tell. Do you see him actually on the stage?
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, if Andrew Jack is on, he's Andrew Jack is the highest rated bodybuilder going into the show, right? He's on. If he's on, even if he's just a bit off, I think he still wins.
Yeah.
King.
Agreed.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it could go either way. I mean, like, listen, if Sergio came off and Andrew came off, Sensen can, easily, I would say maybe not easily, but he could step in there. But it's going to be interesting to see how Sergio looks after being off 2 years. Were those 2 years productive, or was he just kind of like?
Do you find European judges too? They're a lot different for some reason to American judges. So I think it's going to come down to two on what those judges like. But for some reason, when you'd see shows in America, then the same guys would go to Europe. The placings would be totally different on the European judging. So that could have something to do with it too when they get over there on what the judges are looking for.
And before the speed round, Key, let's answer a couple of these questions. How do pros get their gear when doing overseas shows? Do they try and get past customs or have a local source? No, don't try to get past customs with your gear. No.
Contact the promoter and then go from
there. Normally you have a friend, but I don't know about you, but when I did the European tour, we had 7 shows in 9 days on the European tour, and I didn't take any gear. The only thing I had was Aldactone. I figured, what's a week traveling? I'm not going to lose any size. So I didn't, if it's something like that, I don't even worry about it, because even if I was in America, the last week and a half, I'd stop taking shots, because I'm like, I might take a Anadrol or Dianabol to try stay fuller, but the shots, I'm like, being that lean, I don't want to have that one shot that fucks up, gets inflamed. You get on stage and people go, oh, look at the big lump in his glute or shoulder or shit like that. So I stopped taking the injections at least a week or so out. It's like,
plus, it's different now, isn't it? You're on social media. All you got to do is make a post and say, hey, I'll be competing at the Australian Grand Prix. If anybody there that wants to help me out, and next thing you got 10 people contact you. I got you, man. I got you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But you go overseas, you'd end up, they'll be like, what do you want? I've got testosterone. I got this, I got that. I got cocaine. It's like, fucking hell. It's like, it's like they're giving you the whole fucking kit and caboodle. It's like, this is for when you compete. And when we finish, we'll go out later and party. I got this and I got that. I'm thinking, fuck, I'm going to go home dead. It's like, fuck.
Yeah. So the answer to that, I think, these guys don't have a problem at all. They're
not taking it with you. They're not going for customs with illegal drugs.
No, do not do that. Absolutely.
Especially the countries too. We get it here all the time. We get a lot of Australians locked up in Thailand and Bali taking weed and shit. I'm like, when you land at the airport, it says death penalty. It's like, what more notice do you need? Do not take drugs into a country that it says punishable by death. Fuck. It's like, if that doesn't stop you, nothing will.
Yeah, that's bad.
Oh shit. Okay. Boss Outlaw is a great prep coach, but the knock has been he has way too many athletes that he can't give 100% to. It showed the last Mr. What do you think his guys athlete limit is? Yeah, I mean, like it showed a lot of his athletes I think were a little off, and I don't think he's any better than any other of these coaches along the years or us or at all. Like
let me take the pressure off your shoulders, man. Let me say the truth. This Iron OGs, man.
I was getting there, King.
I don't know who this guy is. I have never seen. Honestly, I just heard of him for the first time today. There's nothing that this guy knows. I'm sure he's good. That none of us four, especially Fakhri sitting here, that don't know. Mm-hmm. All communication and knowing your client. That is it. Mm-hmm. There is no magic. There is no secret that some outlaw guy knows. There is nothing secret. It's only communication and how to dial someone in it with each person. You have to know how somebody's metabolism is, and then you work with it, and then you get them ready for the show. That's it.
That's what I always say when people say what's the secret. I'm always like, There is none. I said, if there's a secret, I've been doing it the hard way for 40 fucking years. If you find the secret, let me know, because I'd like to know what this secret is.
Lee Haney's
Myostatin inhibitors.
when the last Olympia Lee Haney won, he said it. He goes, I finally got it right. And that was his last Olympia. When he admitted it in front of the world. He goes, I finally got it right. I finally figured out how it works. And it took him 8 Mr. Olympia wins to do it. So,
and he did look good in that Florida show. I remember it today when that stage turned around, and especially the year before, it was drug tested, wasn't it? And he looked like shit, and a lot of them looked like crap. But come Florida, when that stage turned around and Haney was standing there, you're like, he's won.
I think, he babies a lot of them too, holds their hand, and a lot of athletes need that. I know Derek Lunsford needs that. And, being at the shows, being in their hotel, I think, makes a big difference with a lot of these guys, because a lot of these guys, you leave them alone and they freak out, and they're not okay by themselves. Falk, what do you think?
Yeah, I've had a few of them, man. I've had a few of them that the girlfriend has come knocking on my door at 2:00 in the morning, and I'm like, "What's up?" He's crying. That's a grown ass man. I'm fucking the amount of PEDs that horses take. You know what I'm saying? But I've had many a times, man, and it's more men than females, believe it or not. So many times I've had to go to the room and and be that friend and say, listen, what's going on? What's up? Have confidence. Like, I wouldn't lie to you. If I didn't think you belong here, we wouldn't be here. But emotional support is huge. I mean, not for everybody. Like, I didn't need it, right? Like, some of us have a different mentality, but some people do need it.
Yeah. I know a lot of people do.
I was lucky. Like I said, I never, whether it be good or bad, I never had a coach once. But I knew my worst mistake ever was I was never regimented in the off season, because you'd see how fat I'd get, but I'd probably only eat sometimes 2 times a day. And my friends would get mad. They'd be like, you barely eat, but you keep all that size. I'm like, yeah. So if I had been more regimented in the off season, maybe I could have been a little better, but I never, like I said, had a coach and anything like that in the off season. I just didn't want to be, because, you say you get ready for a show, you eat at this time, train at that time. Off season, I'm like, you know what? I'll eat when I want, do what I want, train when I want. So I was just totally opposite. I go car racing and do all that in the off season. So I just had the 2 different lifestyles. But then I always told people, I think that's why, because I ate so shit in the off season, didn't take any gear, that when I got ready for a show, when I went clean, cardio, took the gear, my body just turned on and responded, because I wasn't doing this cruising. It's like when I was off, I was off. There was no little bit every week. I was like totally off.
But Lee, I think, you're the one few that worked for. I think your personality probably wouldn't have done well with a coach. I
wouldn't take it serious. That's the thing. I remember Hani wanted to help me, and Hani got mad to this day, because Hani goes, Lee, let me see if I can help you. I'm like, okay. So he came over. Mikey, a blonde from back east, was living with me and that. And Hani's like, what's your diet like? I showed him. He's like, well, that's good. What's your training? Good. He goes, what about supplements? I'm like, I just do this and do that. He goes, here, let me give you a program. And he had like 7 or 8 different drugs. And I'm like, I only ever take 3, 4 at the most. If I had a clenbuterol, which I don't count as a drug, I said, fuck, I'm not doing that. But he thought I was. He'd come over every couple of weeks. How's it going? I'm like, going good. And Mike would be like, but I said that in an interview once, someone goes, so what did Hani give you different? I said, he gave me a big list of drugs. He calls me up. You can't say that. I said, but it's the truth. It's the truth. It's the only thing different. You gave me all these fucking drugs to take, and I didn't take them.
I think a big misconception today is the growth hormone usage from guys like, when you guys were competing, even when I started competing and stuff, like the growth hormone dosages are just insane. I remember Kevin Levrone when he was doing his comeback, age 50 or whatever for the Olympia. Was it 50 years? Like 50. Yeah. I remember Dave gave him my number out of nowhere. Kevin's texting me. He's like, hey, can you give me some Serostums? I'm like, yeah, like how much are you going to be taking? He goes, like 4 IUs a day. I'm like, I said, Kevin, these guys today take a lot more than that. He goes, I don't care. That's what works for me. And so like these guys are actually taking 3, 4 IUs of GH. But now everybody starts at like, it seems like, Fakhri, you could speak on this a lot more because I know you all are top level guys. They're starting at like 10 or 15, or like Matt Jensen, he would write on the plan, take 10 or 15 IUs of GH, or because I've got a lot of his clients, or if you can afford more, take as much as you can.
So let's make sense out of this. The more GH you take, the higher your IGF-1 levels are. Your higher your IGF-1 levels are, the more chances of you getting diabetes. So if you're taking 8, 10, 15, 20 IUs of GH for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, you're going to be a fucking diabetic. So most likely your GH is fake. That's one. 2, Saracens. They come in I believe 4, 5, and 6 milligrams, right?
Yeah,
so
7 vials. Yeah.
7 vials, 126 IUs. So I have taken 4 IUs myself, and my IGF-1 levels were like 480. I have taken 8 IUs, 480. I have taken a bottle of Saracens per day for 3 months, 480. So there's only so much high your IGF levels can actually get. 1. 2, if you're taking that much IGF-1, you're going to become a diabetic. So most of the guys are not taking real GH. It's impossible. And you see it because I do get clients, the same way you guys do, that are taking 10, 15, 20 IUs. And the IGF levels are either fake, they're in the 220s, 200s, or zeros, or they're like barely above average with 15, 20 IUs. So it's
How can you take more? I couldn't. My head were. I'd be like this the entire time on the treadmill. I mean, I can't take this anymore, man.
They get used to it. They push themselves skiing and they take the pain. They get used to it, and then like Falk was saying, like with your blood sugars and all that, become diabetic. You have to add insulin to it, or you'll become diabetic. So you got these guys, 100 IUs of insulin a day on their protocols and stuff like that.
It's like you said. It's like you said about Kevin, because when Paul Dillette left his wife, he come to live with me for 8 months, and we prepped for the '98 Olympia together. He lived with me. I saw what he took, and I hear the rumors. Dillette's taking this because you're so big and freaky. The most he took was 4 IUs. The most he went was his very last shot about a week or 2 before. He had 12 IUs left. He's like, oh, it's my last one. I'll take it all at once. And he took 12 at once then. But every other time, he never went over 4 IUs. And the amounts that he took, I said, we'd load up our Winstrol. We had like a coffee table. We'll put it there. I'm like, is that mine or yours? He's like, that one's mine. That's yours. A day or 2 later, oh, it's still there. I'm like, yeah. He goes, you're going to take yours? I'm like, maybe. It's like, we're just very blasé about it. But I got mates who never compete. I'd be like, here, let's go somewhere and do this. We'll stay overnight. Oh, I can't. I'll have to bring my gear. It's shop day on Friday. I said, take it Thursday. No, I've got to take it Friday. I'm like, what difference does it make? I mean, they're so, like, if they miss a shot, I can't train. I'm sure you've had guys too, when I'd be in the off season, I'd be going heavy. I can't go heavy. Why not? I'm not on nothing. I'm like, if you think like that, you're going to go nowhere. If you think that you can't train hard or train heavy without gear, you're going to accomplish nothing, because your whole mindset is, they get on gear, they eat good, they train good, they put size on, they're like, the gear's working. As soon as they come off the gear, they fucking eat shit again. They don't train as hard and they lose all the gains. I'm like, well, if you're on gear or not, you got to train just as hard and fucking eat. You just can't do it when you're on the gear. So you're up and down, up and down. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, even taking a break, like people, they freak out. Like, oh my gosh, like I can't come off gear for 8 weeks. I'm going to shrink. Why won't I just take my, listen, dude, you take your last shot of, let's say, testosterone. You're not going to start feeling bad, or not even bad. It's a lot of it's mental, but maybe around week 3, you might feel a little difference in your strength, but that shot is still in you. It's still not, it's not going to disappear like that. So it gets, I know all of us have different ways. Probably we do things at the end, or PCTs or all that stuff. Like the kids now are like, there's PCTs don't make sense. So nobody does PCTs anymore. They just stay on. And I think you come off. You have to come off if you want to stay healthy.
If they have a shot Friday, and next Friday comes, if they don't have it, all that shit's out of their system instantly. It's gone. I got nothing in me. I got to have it now.
Crazy.
I would do minimum 2 PCTs a year if I was competing. If I wasn't competing, it'd be 3 PCTs, and my PCTs was 40 days. So I would do off 120 days a year,
What do you like to do for your PCTs without giving everything away? Like,
I'll give it away, because I have a whole bunch of clients. I've talked to King about it, and we earlier spoke about somebody telling me I gave him Primo in their PCT. So, as I mentioned earlier, like my cousin Henry, he's a cardiologist, and he was a bodybuilder when he was younger, and he's the one that really introduced me to bodybuilding. So I do the HCG a little different. I don't do a blast. I'll do 250 IUs per day for 40 days. So that equals 10,000 IUs. So that's for the ACG. For the Clomid, I'll do 21 days of 50 milligrams of Clomid. I'll use Novadex, and that's it, right? ACG, Clomid, and Novadex. Yeah, and then depending on your blood work and our age, If you're younger, you don't need to take tests. But if you're older and your test levels are below 200 or below average, then yeah, you have to put in a shot of test at least every 10 days. Because in reality, when you do a TRT, not an HRT, when you do a TRT with the doctor, that's exactly what he's giving you. He's giving you ACG and he's giving you testosterone. So that's how I do my PCTs.
Do you want to know something funny? Hand on the heart, swear on my daughter's life and my mother and that.
Never done
My
one.
whole career, I never did one PCT. When I come off, I'm like, I ain't taking shit. They're like, Lee, you got to. I said, I'm not taking another fucking needle, whether it's insulin. I'm not taking another pill. So my whole career, they're like, but your shit won't kick. I said, look, I got one daughter already. I had her when I was 19, 20. I don't care if I ever have fucking kids again if the shit doesn't turn on. I never did one PCT cycle ever. When I came off, I'm off. That's it. Goodbye.
Like Fakhri said with the HCG, I think what I worked best for me eventually was I was doing like 500 IUs of HCG for long periods of time. And then the Clomid eventually I cut out. You know, a lot of guys Clomid, you know, can make depressed or they get like their vision gets kind of a little weird. So I find a lot of people like, you know, calling me, hey, I'm depressed, I'm crying a lot. Like, okay, just take out the Clomid, just stick a Novodex or whatever. But giving credit to some of these young guys today. I know you guys probably get it. Like, I'll get somebody's blood work. They might be 18, 19, 20. They've never taken SARMs for hormones, steroids, and their test levels are low. So we do know that younger kids, their testosterone levels, 350, 400, 200. Our test levels, I mean, I know when I was, you know, 16, 17, I mean, I was jacking off like 4 or 5 times a day. I could not you know, kids today, like, they're like, oh, I'm not having sex. I'm like, you don't get, like, you're not horny. You don't have a sex drive. They're like, no, I like, go get your test levels checked. And they're like 300 and they never even touched anything. So I'll give
don't they think a lot of it's in the food too now in America? Because I remember only a year ago, someone did a study and they said, like, young boys now from 16 to 21, their test levels are that of 60-year-old men. And like I said, these young kids have never touched gear or anything. Just naturally, their test levels now in younger men is way down. So they think maybe it's in the food, whether you go into conspiracies that they don't want manly men, masculine toxicity. They're trying to feminist down a bit. Who knows?
I do definitely think it's in the food. I think, you know, like plastics and all the bullshit and the hormones in the food. I think what else could it be? I mean, really, what else it is? The pesticides and all that stuff.
Well, we know many of the food sold in America, the same brands are sold in Europe and different countries, don't have ingredients we have. And then U.S. manufacturing food, which makes it even worse because they're giving us the shit and they're giving everybody else the good food, you know?
Yep.
People ruined what I created with GH and insulin.
I mean.
Well, I mean.
All right, we're ready for the speed round?
Speed round.
Let's go.
Okay, all right. Fire this with all the first time guests that we have. It's called our speed round. I'm gonna say something. You tell me the first thing that pops into your head.
Okay.
Prepare yourself. You ready?
I'm ready.
Man? All right. New York or New Jersey?
New York.
Right. Dave Palumbo.
Good guy.
100% Hottie versus 100% Samson. Who wins?
Hottie.
Why?
Harder, more dense.
Remember, they're both. We haven't seen Samson at 100% yet.
Exactly.
All right. I'm gonna give you a tough one. That was an easy one for you. Here's a tough one. 100% Flex Lewis versus 100% Keon.
Flex by far.
Really?
By far. I thought Flex was the second best bodybuilder in the world next to Phil Higgins.
And this is coming, and we got Mr. Lee Priest, who said just the other day that he sees Keon winning the Olympia Open one day.
He can.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I agree with that on Flex. I agree.
Okay. The Sound Factory.
The greatest club ever created that will never be again.
God bless you, man. God bless you. Kai Green.
Great guy.
Other than great guy, say something else.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
Great bodybuilder, great thinker, very emotional man.
Okay. New fit model division in the NPC.
Gotta make money.
Okay. Your favorite car?
Lamborghini event. No, my bad. Bugatti.
Bugatti. Okay. Better show, better run show, Olympia or the Arnold Classic?
The old Olympia or the new Olympia?
In general, whole thing.
I'm an Olympia guy.
Better run show.
I'm an Olympia guy.
Okay. Favorite athlete, non-bodybuilding?
Retired or active?
Either.
Retired, Michael Jordan. Active, active Aaron Judge.
Okay, nice. Favorite cheat meal?
Ooh, Cheesecake Factory by far.
He's old school right here. Steve Weinberger.
My man.
Best era of bodybuilding?
Late 90s, 2000s.
Okay. And the final one, best advice you can give to the new
A what?
best advice you can give to the new generation.
Train fucking hard, eat a lot of good food, and lift heavy weights.
Easy.
And Fakhri, before we go, you kind of spoke about it earlier. You got emotional. What ended your bodybuilding career? I know with me, mine ended really short. I had to have double shoulder surgery at a high national level, and then after that, I couldn't train upper body for 2 years, and it crushed me. But then I saw the picture like later on, and I was like, it was a blessing in disguise, I think. But what happened with you?
I never thought I was gonna get old. I was always at my peak. I was 287 pounds coming back from Florida in December 2017, and I made excuses after my last show in 2008 because I had King knows some of my history before I was a bodybuilder. You know, I lost everything and I had to come back to build everything back up. So I kept doing businesses, gas stations, McDonald's, supplement stores, blah, 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 blah. So I never thought I was going to get old. And then when I came back in 2017, December, I was 287 pounds, in good shape, really good shape. So I was like, I'm going to do the New York Pro in 2018. I went to see a doctor, and that was the day Giancarlo Stanton got traded to the Yankees, the same exact day. The doctor called me up, Dr. Batuti from the Bronx. I'm not sure if King ever met him.
I know him.
You know him, yeah? He passed away from COVID. And, hey, Doc, he's a Yankee fan. Hey, Doc, the Yankees got you. He was like, sit down. I was like, what happened? He was like, sit down. So I sat down. He goes, your GFR is down to 61. That's fucking impossible. My GFR was fucking in the high 70s, you know? So when I was away in Florida, my businesses here in New York were left to people that I trusted, friends and family and everything else. I came back to $947,000 of debt. My credit line was getting paid, my taxes were getting paid, and everything else. So my blood pressure went through the fucking roof for a whole year, which I knew already in Florida. And I wouldn't take that one fucking pill, Olodipine. I wouldn't take my one blood pressure pill, but I would take everything else to fucking get to 287 pounds. And that shit blew out my kidneys, you know. So I had to make a decision of me going into bodybuilding now being in stage 3. You know, which I could live forever, right? My functions still haven't changed, or stop bodybuilding, and that's why I get emotional because I was never able to get on stage at my very best, and it wasn't because I wasn't at my best, because I was always at my best. I just didn't take those 3 or 4 months to actually prep for a show, and I apologize to you guys for being emotional. I've done this before on many shows, but I love bodybuilding. I love it.
You don't need to apologize for that. That's raw emotion coming out.
And I think that's important you say that because a lot of people, they don't understand blood pressure. And like I have all my clients take their blood pressure constantly. I tell them to go get CT scans and all that because the blood pressure shoots up and people don't understand. You can be taking something and you can be okay, but stress through the roof, no sleep through the roof, all that kind of stuff affects your blood pressure, and it destroys your kidneys. We had Mike Morris on. It was the same deal with him. Stage 3 kidney disease, and he had to quit bodybuilding, or he had the chance to go on and potentially all that. So I think that's really important that you went over that, and these people, even the young ones, need to understand you keep blood pressure high for long enough, your kidneys are destroyed. A lot of the medications, they have better ones now, like telmisartan and ramipril and stuff that aren't, because a lot of them the blood pressure medicines do have side effects like muscle aches, bone pain, stuff like that. And as bodybuilders, oh my gosh, if this hurts our muscle or this hurts our bones, we don't want to do it. So I think, it's good that you spoke about that and to let people know how important blood pressure is, because I go over it with my clients all the time. And like, you have to get this checked out. You have to make sure you get your blood pressure like this, learn from, people's, other people's mistakes or that went through the same thing. So I think that's really important.
Well, let's end this on a happy note. How about that? Okay. Do you still have those mutant calves? Do you still
man.
have those out retarded? I know it's not good to say retarded anymore, but these are retarded, man.
Well, they're not Lee Priest calves, but they're still pretty big.
mine are fading away too.
All I remember.
But I did get a compliment in the gym the other day, so I went to the bathroom, and my new girlfriend, she's sitting in the machine. So when I came back, she was like, they want to ask you a question. It was like 5 guys. They're like, how did you get those fucking calves? So I was like,
I don't want to put you on the spot, man, but can you show us those calves, man? I would love to see
now, man.
No, you put them on the spot.
Hey, my secret training lately is because I'm getting older and shittier. I've still got good forearms and calves. So all my t-shirts I wear to the elbow, and I wear my shorts to the knees. So all I train is calves and forearms. So when people go, fuck, look at his calves and forearms, he must look good everywhere else. No, I look like shit. All you see is good forearms and calves.
Mr. Priest, your arms aren't going nowhere, man.
Well, Lee, you got the nerve damage like I do. Like my calves, I had really, really good calves, but my inner calves, they've atrophied because my lower back, my back, and I don't want to have back surgery.
Yeah, well, I'm lucky I've still got that pinch sciatic, and my leg goes numb, but it hasn't affected the calf yet. But my worst thing was, like I said, my career stopped because when I was 42, I won the NABBA Universe. I was going to make a comeback. So 2014, I promoted NABBA 15. I was getting ready for the Worlds. Woman T-boned me, crushed all the nerves in my neck, had to get two neck operations. But now I've still got that atrophy in the chest, like Popper Pumper. It looks like a dog's taken a bite out of my chest. This tricep atrophied a bit, and so did my lat. So I sometimes get pissed off some days because I'm like, I didn't finish on my terms. I would have liked to have done a show and go, okay, I'm retired, goodbye. Having a car accident take me out is just sometimes like, fuck. I didn't want my career to end that way.
That's my hardest thing. And what
pisses me off is too, I did road racing, won races. Circle track, won races, did drag racing, won the championship. All the car racing I did, fucking 100 miles an hour, I get taken out doing 60 kilometers with a T-bone car, fucking crap.
I had the same thing, Lee. That's how I've injured my neck and back. 4 herniated disc in my neck, 2 in my lower back. This girl on the highway, I was sitting there. I saw her coming from behind, texted down. I'm like, shit, I'm about to get hit. At the time, I had a small little like Infinity, and it crushed my back, my neck, and it didn't affect me bad until like 2 years later. But it's like my neck, my back started atrophying, my calves started atrophying. I'm like, it's depressing, but nerve damage is nerve damage. You really can't do much,
I know, because people come up to me now, because this arm I'm conscious of, because it's like 1.5 inches smaller than that one. They're like, you got the best arms in the sport. I said, best arm. This one's fucked. I've only got one good one.
All right, guys. Well, Vok, thanks for coming on, clearing it all up. That was just a tip of the iceberg. We had a great podcast today. We'll talk about everything else, getting your opinions on the coaching and all that. And so, thanks for coming on, Lee. Thanks for coming on. I know you got the time.
Thank you.
You're supposed to train
I'll go back. I did 4 warm-up sets. It's only been 2 hours. I'll go back and start again now. I got a choice though. The gym's right there in the car park, and on the other side, about 50 feet away is McDonald's. Decisions.
Go get the McDonald's after the arms.
I'll try. I'll do arms really quick.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming on. Iron OG signing out.
Lee Priest. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Peace.